Okay, well, thank you for being here, everyone. It's lovely to see you all. Oh, I would love for you just to take a second to get comfy. Even if you've done that already, just see if you can just get like a percent more comfy in whatever way that you can. So just have a little move around. See if you need anything else with you, like more support or padding underneath bits of the body. Yeah, grabbing something that you might have forgotten. There's no limit to how comfortable we can make ourselves. I know we can't be fully comfortable always, especially maybe not today. But let's just see if we can give ourselves that little bit of grace to get a little bit more smushy. And if you want to close your eyes, just as we sort of settle in, please do, but you don't have to. Everything is an invitation. You take what you want to take and you leave what you want to leave. And I trust that you know what's best for you always. So wherever you are, wherever you're starting this session, trying just to let your body, the weight of your body, just get a little heavier, either down into your seat or down into your bed. And just really noticing how you're starting this session. If you can just acknowledge perhaps where your body is at in terms of how it's feeling, or acknowledge any particular emotions that we might be with today, or say today, this time, this moment in time. Not because we're here to sort of fix them or like change, but just so you can acknowledge where you're at. Yoga is all about meeting you exactly where you are. So we don't worry about what we could have done yesterday or what we might be able to do next week, but we try and focus on what we've got, what we can do right now in the moment. And that's enough. Today we're going to focus just on trying to keep the body a little bit cooler. We're going to do a cooling breathing practice, which some of you might have done last week when I was here, when we did a Friday night class. And we're going to put our focus towards just down regulating our body and our nervous system. So just sort of trying to calm everything down a little bit. The heat can feel physically fiery. It can almost make parts of us feel more rageful or angsty. So today, let's sort of consider that we're sort of gently pouring some nice cool water, metaphorically. We'll start just by paying attention to the parts of your body that are in contact with your chair, or that they're in contact with your floor or your bed. So just noticing where you're touching something. Maybe imagining that in those parts of the body you were sort of plugging in to the surface underneath you. Really using that support from the mattress or your mat or your chair to hold your body and hold everything that we've got going on. Nothing is too heavy, nothing is too much. And then just in your own time, just start to take your attention, if you feel like you can, to your breathing. Don't want you to change it, do anything different with it, but just start to watch and listen to your breath coming in and the breath coming out. No wonder what there is to notice there for us, that breath. Is there sensations that accompany our breath? Is there sound? Maybe the air like everything else feels warm as you draw it in, or maybe you feel it on the top of your lip as you breathe out. Is there any movement that accompanies your breathing? Does your chest move, or your ribs, or your tummy? Does the breath feel kind of smooth and fluid, or is it a bit more broken and raggedy? Maybe it's somewhere in between. And just sort of allow that breath to move in and out of you. And if you are the kind of person who can visualize or likes to visualize, I'd love for you just to have the picture of just a wave at the beach that's kind of rolling in and rolling away from the shore. And that being a little bit like that steady flow of your breath. So inhaling, imagining that wave just creeping up the sand, rolling inward. And then as you exhale, imagine how that water just draws back away from the shoreline, sort of retreats. You might even imagine that you're stood there watching the waves, feeling the breeze. Maybe that sound of pebbles that sometimes come with the waves. When our body taps into this relaxation response, which we're trying to elicit today a little bit, we might find that our breath becomes a little bit more like that sort of steady, soft flow of waves. It might not. We're all different. And our breath is all different. But our intention, if you want one, might just be for that to try and keep or maintain a little bit of softness and flow. So the breath isn't forced, but it's soft. Lovely, everyone. Really, really nice. So you can do any of these movements that we'll do today. They'll be small and soft, but you can do any of them without them moving, and you can just imagine them. So for instance, our first movement that we're just going to do is a moving and breathing exercise, just a little flow of movement timed with our breath. And I'm just going to bring my fingers up towards my shoulders as I breathe in, or bending my elbows. You can do this sitting or lying down, and then just exhaling, just floating the hands down. So you could physically do the movement, or you might just rest your body and imagine the movement happening in your head. So you decide. Inhale, just bending the elbows, fingertips towards the shoulders. As you exhale, just letting the hands and arms rest. Beautiful. And if when you're breathing and you're bending, if you think, I can't do this in time, what are you even asking me? It's too hot. It's like rubbing my belly and tapping my head. Don't worry. You might find a different rhythm. You might just be like, I'm moving, I'm breathing, that'll do. That's fine too. But sometimes in yoga, we do try and just put the breath and the moving together. You might have heard that word vinyasa before. It's a bit of a weird one actually, because lots of classes that advertise themselves as vinyasa are often really dynamic and really active. But vinyasa is just the act of moving one movement with the breath. So this super simple, super small, subtle movement could be a vinyasa. The next time you pop the hands down, just allow them to rest there. Maybe if you can, let the palms be turned upwards, so like the palms facing up towards the ceiling. And just sort of even try, it might sound silly, but try and relax the palms of your hands and relax your fingers. Imagine that you've got like 2 heavy weights in the palms of your hands. And then notice if you can just let your shoulders soften a little bit more. Might even just give them a little wriggle. And again, if you're lying down, then same thing, just sort of imagining your shoulder blades being drawn down towards the mattress. Beautiful. We're just going to take the shoulders and lift them up a little bit. Away from the floor if you're lying down, or away from your seat if you're sitting. And as you breathe out, let's just let them soften down and away from the earlobes. So as you breathe in, just going to sneak up a little bit. And as you exhale, they're just going to soften down. Remember that you can just keep the shoulders still, use that visual imagination if you want to. Visualize the shoulders lifting. And then visualize them sliding back downwards. Just do a couple more in your own time. So we're not squeezing them really hard, we're just simply creating just a tiny bit of tension by lifting them upwards. And then really intentionally letting that tension go. Kind of imagining like if they were like melted wax. They probably feel a bit like melted wax maybe today. All of us might feel like melted wax. Lovely. And the next time the shoulders relax down, just let them stay there. And you can jig the hands, shake out the hands and the wrists if you like. We're just going to try a breathing practice. Some of you will have remembered it from last week if you were here. If you weren't, don't worry. So we tried a cooling breathing practice last week called Sitali breath. And basically, it gives you the opportunity to stick your tongue out at me, which you may or may not want to do. So I'm going to come a bit closer just so you can see. I've got a couple of options for you if you want to try it. It's quite cool because it does physically sort of bring nice cool air onto your tongue, which can help us feel all over a little bit cooler. So the first option, which is not my favorite option, is but if you're a person who can curl your tongue, like, then you're going to try and curl your tongue and then breathe in through that hole in your tongue. Breathe in through your mouth. So a bit like this. And then breathe out through your nose or your mouth. It doesn't matter. Now, I find that gives me tongue cramp. So instead of curling my tongue, I'll just make an ooh sound, an ooh shape with my mouth. Apologies. And then I'll go and breathe in through that hole with a little whistle, and then let the breath out either through the nose or through the mouth. I find that the smaller the hole, if I'm doing the ooh, the cooler the breath feels on my tongue. If you try it and you think, nah, let it go, it's all good. But you might just do a couple of rounds. You don't need to do loads. Don't worry about counting them. Just be a bit curious. When we chatted about it last week, someone said that it feels kind of weird breathing in through the mouth, which it really does. And we don't want to do lots and lots of them because it can feel a little bit drying as well, physically. But again, like with all breathing practices, if you're choosing to let this one go and breathe in a way that feels safer for you, I would love you to do that. Beautiful. And then let's just let that go. Put your tongues back in. Good. We're just going to have a little move into the spine, into the neck. So from wherever you are, sitting like me or lying down, just want you to feel your pelvis in a neutral position. So maybe that means that you just kind of jig a little bit, rock hip to hip, or you just shimmy your bum a little bit left to right. And then whenever you're ready, just start to let your pelvis tuck up underneath you a little bit. And then tilt it gently back. I'm going to turn to the side so it's a little bit easier. And Hazel, and oh, there might be somebody else lying down. Maybe not, I'm not sure. If you're lying down, you're just going to keep those legs bent for me, feet nice and flat on the bed. And you're just going to do that same slight little tuck of the pelvis, then just drawing it up, tucking it and tilting it. And if you want to breathe in time with that movement of your pelvis, you can. Or you might just be like, I'm just going to focus on the moving and my breath will just come whenever it comes. Either is completely fine. Lovely. So you can take this, it can be really subtle. Yeah, and if we're thinking about how much warmer we are and perhaps we're starting our practice with a bit less physical capacity, then the perfect way of dealing with that is just reducing, making things smaller, making things slower, or again, letting the movement rest fully and using that kind of imagining, visualizing how that movement would feel if we were doing it, but not actually doing it. Good. Have a little rest from that a second. Then all we're going to do in a minute is just add a little movement of the head and our neck. And you can do that with the pelvic tilts and tucks, or you can just stick with the head and the neck. So it's up to you. If you did them both together, then I'm going to swizzle around. You did them both together as you tilt your pelvis. You might just gently bring your chin a little bit towards your chest. I might have done that the wrong way around. Hold on. Yeah, I did it the wrong way around. So as we tilt the pelvis back, we might lift the chest just a little bit, like you're trying to get a little bit of length through the front of the throat. And then as we tuck the pelvis, you might just lengthen through the back of your neck and just direct the chin down a little bit. Try not to smush it all the way to the chest. Try and keep that nice and subtle. So adding that in if you want, or just resting your pelvis and just, they're almost like slow nods of the head with the shoulders nice and relaxed. The jaw relax if you can. That's really hard if you're a teeth grinder like me. Who's a teeth grinder? Anyone?
I am. I have to wear a guard for it. I think it's TMJ issues that cause it, and stress as well.
And stress. Yeah. Does the
Both.
mouth guard help, Charlie?
I found that I've had it for about a week, maybe over a week now, and I've already like worn it down. I chew a lot. I'm autistic and I chew a lot as well, so that probably is why. But yeah, it does help. I have definitely had less migraines than I was having. I don't know if the two are connected yet, but considering the damage I've already done to the guard, that was happening on my teeth.
Yeah, wow. That's quite incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you have to
It is worth having one.
Yeah. Cool. It's the kind of thing, like that is just, the jaw is always a place for me that I just wouldn't realize unless someone goes, are you tensing? Are you tensing? Are you grinding? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I am. But otherwise, just no idea I'm doing it until someone reminds me. It's really natural. Okay. Let's just rest that for a minute and see how you feel. Have a little wriggle. Last sort of movement, well, not last movement, but just next one before we just do a little bit of sort of guided relaxation, or sort of not going to just do a guided body scan. If you're sitting, you might just want to take your feet a bit wider apart, and that's optional. I like it just because it gives more space for my tummy and my thighs, otherwise everything just gets a little bit smushed. If you're on your back, if you're lying on the floor or in your bed, you're going to keep your knees bent. We in a chair are going to sort of spiral, and those of you laying on your back are just going to gently, we've got a couple of options. You can either just let your knees sort of windscreen wipe, gently left to right, or if it's available and that's something that feels nice for you, you can bring the knees in towards your chest and then draw kind of circles with your thighs into your lower back. So you can have a little see which feel good there. So just start really small, everyone. Like no need for like big elaborate circles. Just keep it contained. Keep it little. And as you're circling or you're swaying, just going to challenge you just to see if you can let your tummy muscles get really soft. So here we're targeting the muscles around our lower back, the muscles that support the pelvis, that keep our thigh bones, hip sockets. You might just find that like, oh, some little point along that circle feels really nice. You can slow down or you can pause there. Make sure that in a little while you switch directions. If you've been going in one direction, just pick it around in the opposite way. You might feel different in different places. And it might be likely that one direction feels really awkward. It's harder for our brain to catch on and do things on one side than it is the other. And also our bodies feel different on one side to the other as well. You're just imagining sort of moving your upper body around sort of the point where your pelvis, your tailbone is in contact with the floor. When I do this movement, I always just think of those like old style compasses that you used to have in your pencil case at school, where you used to put the pin in and then draw the pencil around it. I always think of my pelvis being like the pin in the bit of paper, and then my movement almost being like the pencil, like drawing that circle. And I'm in control of whether it's small or slow or fast or big. Or I just come and rest whenever I want to. Beautiful. And then just gradually start to bring that to a stop. Try and do it a little bit sort of over a few breaths. Don't rush, don't need to stop immediately. You might just sort of slowly wind it down, slowly get smaller and smaller until you're just sat still-ish. Never need to be completely still. And then if you're not already, maybe sit into the back of your chair just so that you can relax your spine. Take away a bit of effort. Just notice where your hands feel comfortable to rest, even if you're lying down or sitting. Try and rest them somewhere that means that the shoulders can be quite relaxed, that you feel kind of safe and comfortable. You can rest them on the body if that feels good. For some of us it does, and for some of us it doesn't. No right and no wrong. So we're going to just practice. If you've ever done a practice called yoga nidra before, it's a little bit like a yoga nidra, but it's going to do it a little bit shorter, and we're not necessarily going to shut the eyes unless you know that you want to and that feels good for you, but it's not a necessity. What I'm going to do is just call out different body parts. We essentially just make our way around the body, and you just follow my voice. So for instance, I'll say top of the head, and then jaw, neck. And we'll just work our way around. And you'll just follow my voice and sort of map your way around your body, if that feels safe and if it feels comfortable for you. If I call out a body part that for whatever reason you don't want to take your focus to, then stick with the one I just called out and just join back in when you're happy to continue that journey. This doesn't have to be a physically still practice. You can fidget, wriggle, adjust yourself, stim anytime you need. Like, don't feel like you've got to be frozen still. And there's nothing that we have to do when we move our attention around the body. It might just be that you sort of notice, you go, oh, my left shoulder feels kind of tense still. Maybe you are able to just sort of go, oh, can I relax that a little bit? But apart from that, nothing else that you have to do. We're just noticing. Okay. So eyes closed or eyes open. You don't need to see me, but if you want to, keep them open. And we're going to start with our attention at the top of our head. And then we're going to move it down to the forehead. And then the cheeks. And then the neck. Chest area. Both ribs. And the belly. Just moving up to the top of our right shoulder. Our right elbow. Our right wrist. Palm of our right hand. And all of our right fingers and thumb. Keep going, left shoulder. Left elbow. Left wrist. Left palm of your hand. And then all of your left fingers and thumb. Back to the right side, the right hip. The right knee. The right ankle. The sole of your right foot. And all of your right toes. The left hip. The left knee. The left ankle. The sole of your left foot. And all of your left toes. You're seated. Gently just aware of the pelvis and the buttocks, perhaps the lower back in contact with your chair. You're laying the whole length of the back, from the back of the head to the lower back of the body, resting on the mat. And then just an awareness of the whole body, or as much of the body as you wish. Not needing to change anything. Just allowing your body to exist in this moment in time. Maybe if sensations arise, you do notice them. They don't mean that you failed. They're not wrong. Taking just the next couple of moments with a soft and steady breath. Allowing that breath to be washed through you. Bringing in that sense of groundedness and coolness as you inhale. And exhaling for now and perhaps the weekend ahead, letting go of effort where we can let go of effort. Maybe just considering, what could I put down this weekend that is put downable? Just to give myself a little bit more ease, to give myself a little bit more grace, to give myself a little bit of a break. We can't put everything down. But maybe there's just the awareness of, can I just reduce a little bit of effort? And that doing that is perfectly okay. We're all going to take just a couple of breaths in and out together. These breaths might be a little bit deeper and fuller. You can breathe in, and then when we breathe out, you can let it out with a big sigh if you want to. And then after that, you can just let your body kind of start to move a little bit. Maybe you might find that you end up yawning or sighing a bit more. That's perfectly normal. So whenever you're ready, taking a nice deep breath in through your nose or your mouth, trying to breathe like you were trying to breathe all the way down to your lower belly. And then letting it go. And one more, like that. Big breath in. And a big breath out. And just take